Hey y'all, my name is Yvette and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about mystery books. Mystery as a genre isn't really my thing. I've tried to like mystery books and for the most part I just don't. And I think it might be because I'm more of a character-driven reader and mysteries are all about plot, but for whatever reason I just find it really hard to become invested in mystery books. There are some mystery books that I've read, like When Justice Sleeps by Stacey Abram, that when I'm reading it I know that it's a good book and like I recognize that if I like mysteries more then I would love that book. But because I don't like mysteries, the book was kind of eh. However, something that I've learned about myself is that if there's another element of the book, like the characters or their relationships with each other, or even the setting that's super strong and that's a big part of the book and that I really like it, I can find myself enjoying the mystery as well. So while I don't like mysteries in general, I have found some that I do like, and those are the ones I'm going to be talking about today. And the first one is going to be Arsenic and Adobo by Mia P. Mansala, which is a culinary cozy mystery. The main character, Leela Makabakal, has just gone through a really bad breakup, so she very reluctantly decides to go back home to her small town and help out her aunt with her struggling restaurant. To make matters worse, her high school ex-boyfriend is constantly coming into the restaurant, eating the food and writing them bad reviews. And then one day, when he's eating the food, he drops over dead and Leela becomes the #1 suspect in his murder. While the evidence is processing, the restaurant has to shut down, which they really cannot afford to do, and the landlord is trying to kick them out, and the police are only looking into Leela, not who actually killed her ex-boyfriend, so Leela has to solve the murder herself in order to save herself and her family's restaurant. So this was my first cozy mystery, and after reading it I understand why people like them because I really enjoyed this. Like, I like the concept of a cozy mystery. People are dying, which obviously is bad and scary, but the overall tone of the book is light and fun without downplaying the seriousness of what's going on. And it was really comforting knowing that everything was going to be okay in the end when things got stressful. On top of that, I really like Leela's character and the journey she went through of not only solving the mystery but her personal journey of finding out what she wants in life, because she never thought she would come back to her hometown and settle down there. That's not what she wanted in her life. But on the other hand, she has this duty to her family and she has to find out what she really wants and what she's gonna do with her life. And I really like the community that this author created. We meet Leela's old friends from high school, she makes some new friends, we meet other people who own restaurants in the town, and I think the author does a really good job of setting up groundwork for future stories in this town. Also, this book has recipes in the back, and like throughout the story there are some amazing descriptions of food because Leela loves food and she loves eating, and that was a really great part of the book too. And the author provides content warnings in the beginning of the book, which are evidence planting, police intimidation, fat phobia, drug use, racism, and domestic violence. The next book I'm going to be talking about is Dial A for Aunties by Jessie Satano, and this is a murder mystery rom-com about a woman named Madeline who has a wedding business with her mom and her 3 aunts. Maddie's mom sets her up on a blind date and she goes on it and it goes very wrong and she ends up accidentally killing her date. Maddie's aunts agree to help her deal with the body, but things go very wrong when the body is accidentally transported to a wedding venue that they're working the next day. And so ensues lots and lots of shenanigans as they try to decide what to do with the body without getting caught, and things get more complicated when Maddie's college ex shows up and she might not be over him. So this book is billed as part murder mystery, part rom-com, and part celebration of mothers and daughters, and I would agree with some of that because it is definitely a celebration of mothers and daughters and a comedy. I would say that's mostly what it is. There is some romance in here but it's very minor, and the murder mystery I'm not sure would count as a murder mystery because it is from the perspective of the murderer and there's no really mystery to solve other than the mystery of how to get this body out of here and how to not get caught, but it's billed as a murder mystery, so I'm counting it as a mystery and counting it for this video. But like all in all, this book is an absolute delight because it totally delivers on this premise of having 4 meddling aunties. The aunties are super overbearing but also really unwavering in their love for Maddie. Like when Maddie shows up with this body, there's no question that she did nothing wrong and that they're gonna help her because that's what family does. And they are absolutely hilarious about it because despite there being a murder and a body, they still maintain their auntie priorities. Like when Maddie shows up and tells her mom what she did, her mom is like, yes, I understand that there is a body in your trunk, but right now what you need to be worried about is cutting up these fruit because your auntie aunties are coming over and we can't be rude and have nothing to offer them. And like, yeah, we are dragging this body across the wedding venue, but let's take a beat to discuss Meddy's love life. And like, the aunties are the absolute best part of this book, as they should be. All four of the aunties have these really distinctive big personalities, and poor Meddy is just trying to juggle them all and trying not to get caught, and also trying to deal with her ex that showed up. This book is just really fun and silly, and it's one of my favorite books that I read in 2021. Some content warnings for attempted sexual assault, murder, guns, planting evidence, blackmail, and drugging. The next book I want to talk about is actually a series, and that is the Big Bad Wolf series by Charlie O'Hara. This is a murder mystery slash queer paranormal romance series, and it follows two characters. The first is Cooper, who is a human federal agent who's a part of an agency that deals with crimes involving werewolves, and then there is Park, who is a werewolf that's a part of the Trust, which is a werewolf oversight organization. So the plot of the first book that kicks off the series is that there has been a string of suspicious murders, and the relations between humans and werewolves is becoming really strained. Because of that, the government decides for the first time to pair a human and a werewolf together that ends up being Cooper and Park, and they have to solve the murder together. Over the course of the series, Cooper and Park fall in love and their relationship grows, but also they grow individually as people, and like, that growth is spread out over the series, and it's so well paced. And as an individual, Cooper is a totally different person from book 1 to book 5 in that he's much less of a mess, and that growth happens gradually over the entire series. And I really love that gradual growth, because mostly when I read romance, I read like standalone romances, or if it's a series, each book follows a different couple, and it was just so incredibly nice to follow one couple for a series as they grow and they change separately and together. And this became one of those series where I'm counting down the days till the next book comes out. There are 5 books in this series, and I'm not sure if there are going to be more, but there is a spin-off series starting later this year in August that's coming out with Karina Adores, and it just, I am so excited for whatever this author comes up with in this world. As far as the mystery parts of these books, there are people dying in every book, and Cooper and Park are solving murders, but to be honest, I didn't care about the mystery parts at all. It's just that the author does such a great job with all the character work and the romance and the world building that I love these books in spite of the mystery. And finally, the last book of this video is actually the last books of this video, and they are the books that made me think about doing this video, and those are the Historical Mysteries by Junher. Junher currently has 3 mystery books set in Korea in the Joseon era. I believe one in the 1400s, one in the 1700s, and one in the 1800s. And Junher is one of those authors which just, I love every one of her new books better than I love the last book, and I think that's like the highest praise that I can offer an author. So for her books, there are Silence of the Bones, The Forest of the Stolen Girls, and The Red Palace, and I'm gonna give quick summaries of each. In order of publication, the first book is Silence of the Bones, and this is about a 16-year-old girl who's endangered to the police, and she's assigned to assist in the investigation of a noblewoman. In this time and place, men aren't allowed to touch women that they're not related to, even if they're dead, and there are some women's areas that men aren't allowed to go into, so the main character, as a girl, becomes integral to the investigation. The second book is The Forest of Stolen Girls, and this is about a teenage girl whose sister went missing when they were kids, and then years later her dad finds out that other girls have gone missing in a similar way, so he starts to investigate, but then he goes missing, and the main character has to pick up the investigation where he left off. And Junher's third book just came out at the end of January, and it's The Red Palace, and this one's main character is a palace nurse. One night there are 4 women murdered, and the main character's mentor is the prime suspect. So to save her mentor, she sets out to find out the real killer, and along the way she crosses paths with an investigator who's trying to do the same thing. And because she's a palace nurse, she has a lot of access to information and people that the investigator doesn't, and they end up working together. Junher's first 2 books are excellent, but my favorite is The Red Palace, and I just love that book so much. It has complicated family relationships and court politics and romance, and everything is so well balanced out with the mystery, and I rated that book 5 stars. So to talk about these books together in a more general way, all 3 of them have 2 things that I really love and that make me actually care about the mystery aspects to these books. The first thing is a setting, because Junher can set a setting, and like not only the environmental and character descriptions, but really capturing the feeling of being in a different time and place. You can tell that the author has really done some historical research, and like this isn't an era that we see a lot of in American publishing, and she really brought it to life. And the second thing that I love about Junher books are the the characters, because all three of her books have female main characters who are determined and curious, and despite being born in lower classes of society and having limitations, they solve these mysteries, and like they're the kind of characters who will not stop until they solve these mysteries. In every single book, I found myself rooting so hard for the main characters right from the beginning, and because of that, I found myself super investigated in the mysteries and the unraveling of the mysteries, and actually really caring about them. I never thought I would describe the mystery in a mystery book as compelling, but these were really compelling. And that is going to wrap up all the books I'm going to be talking about today. If you have a mystery book recommendation, feel free to leave it in the comments below. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.